flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this afternoon. Larry Jane, can you do the roll call?
Mr. Nucci?
Present.
Ms. Donnelly? Present. Ms. Panico? Present. Mr. Warshaw?
Present.
Ms. Hubbard?
Present.
And Dr. Matt?
Present.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the Board of Ed meeting of January 22nd, 2019.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? Moving on to public comment. This section of the agenda gives the Board of Education an opportunity to recognize persons who wish to raise a question or to make a brief statement on the agenda known as only. All other topics will be recognized as time allows. Time available will be 3 minutes for one or more topics. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters.
I'd like to know when the district is sending out a letter to parents.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to know when the district is sending out a letter to parents who can get activities. So Mr. Middleton isn't here right now? So I think it's but I can get back to you tonight.
And then, anybody else?
I was wondering if,
I'm sorry.
Is that thing on?
is that, yeah, okay, no, it's not on, it's still not working? Turn it on. You may not be turned on.
Thank you.
Can't deal with that touch.
No one over there.
Maybe I can ask you something here. My question was regarding the bathrooms and how that's going in high school. Bathrooms or like locked up, all that stuff. 'Cause I know that you had said that there were, I believe you said 4 open downstairs all day long and maybe 2 upstairs, right?
Oh, sorry, yes. Total, over.
Those boys come to it.
How many bathrooms are there downstairs?
Total, over.
Yeah.
What's that minute?
Because I'm just going again, my son says, that it's really hard pressed to find a bathroom, that's all. So, and now, they can, but, the lines hopefully are better. I don't know if the goal is to just open more, or, I know it probably means hiring more people, but no bathrooms are essential. So, any plans to open more, or just?
Well, I was discussing one thing between the district and stuff, we did, talking about people, and right now, we have 5 bathrooms that are open. As soon as they're in, because I don't know if you can say that. Bathrooms aren't closed. One time the bathroom is closed is when there's an issue, or it's broken, literally broken, or we have some reaction from here. So they're not open, they're not closed, one period of time.
Well, the bathrooms are closed, they're locked, right?
No, they're not. I'm there every day. So when there are times where intermittently they get the would be locked, if you want to step down there, because period, or they're broken. But if they're not broken, and they're covered, they're open.
Then there's a lot of them that are broken a lot of the time.
So I'm going to dive in right now, if you don't mind. I asked Mr. Allen, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, to give us a spreadsheet of how much vandalism has occurred within the bathrooms. We literally have a full-time plumber who is almost always at the high school because of the amount of vandalism to our bathrooms. We have, they've actually pulled out, and I don't even know how you can do this, but they've actually pulled out of the pipes behind the urinals Snapple bottles, and they're plastic. They figure out a way to get it up and in there. So quite frankly, it was unbelievable how much vandalism is happening to shut down certain bathrooms. So even though we try to keep them open as much as possible, and that would be something that an aide at spot checking the bathroom after the fact wouldn't even be able to determine that that was happening. And sometimes they're flushed down the toilet and it takes 2 or 3 times after that before it gets backed up and now it's a problem and now we can figure out, we can't go back and figure out who put the Snapple bottle in there. They find the milk cartons jammed up into pipes, up and down. It's unbelievable how
I'm
much
telling
damage
you,
is
let
happening.
me stand right inside the bathroom.
Come on down, Deirdre, whatever you want.
We need somebody then at every bathroom.
You can't be inside the bathroom. You just can't do it. So unfortunately, we have to continue to, deploy our manpower to fix what's broken and keep as many open as possible. But we need the help of the kids to stop vandalizing the bathrooms. So he wasn't here tonight, but he was going to tell us a little bit about how much vandalism there is. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Just so you're aware that with decreasing enrollment, in this building is 2,500, the exact same number of things.
And you don't know how many bathrooms you never said, like 500, how many are there?
There's only 2 that aren't open for students right now, and they are in hallways that are not heavily trafficked. So if you look at the bathroom that is in between the new gym, that one's closed, and the one right outside the gym, that's closed. Those are very small bathrooms for kids anyway. I think there's
Those are never open, I hear.
Those are never open, and we don't have manpower to man those, but they're also not in high trafficked areas, and if the kids are down that end of the building, they can go into the locker room and use the bathrooms if they're in the gym facility. So those are the only 2.
Those are locked very nice to every kid. They lock that door up.
But the kids who are in the gyms
In the gym.
utilize that, so it almost doesn't make sense to keep those open, but we have a proposal that we will put in front of the board as part of the budget proposal to man those other 2 if the principal would like those open.
That would be great. All right.
Thank you. So, Mr. Costa, while you're here, I'd like to read you a text message that I received from a student.
Step up, man.
Give me a second, it
Hey, you
shows,
just don't,
I found it,
you just do it.
you like to,
I would do that. Only do private.
One second, I'm sorry. My little friend likes to text me a lot, so. Okay, I know this isn't your problem or fault, but the high school has been a mess lately. The boys' bathroom, I have to wait up to 10 minutes to even use because there is such a long line and very few are open. I once had to wait 17 minutes for the bathroom, and that's almost half the period. Also during the test this week yesterday, the fire alarm went off, and they made an announcement to just stay in place. Then they said continue testing without telling us if everything is okay. We did get 3 extra minutes though. Then today when the power went out, there was an announcement, but it was just stated that half the power went out. And after that, our whole class began smelling a strong burning smell. Someone came up and said they smelled it too, and to just continue, but it's quite hard to work to our potential when the smell is overwhelming and we don't know what's going on. Finally, while leaving, I noticed the fire alarms aren't even working properly. So how would we know if it was dangerous? I'm sorry again, this is not your problem, but all these events are affecting people's education. So,
The easiest one to say is yes, the fire alarms are absolutely working properly, excuse me. They all absolutely work, there's not an issue with problems whatsoever. The smell that they smelled was long before the power went out. They had the power surge in the neighborhood, we lost 2 transformers in the neighborhood, which resulted in sending a power surge to 2 of our rooftop units that burnt up. So that was a smell, so we identified that fairly quickly, knew there was no issue, no one was in any danger. Maybe a half hour, I can't give you an exact time frame. Soon after that, we lost our first leg, which was only about 12 classrooms. So the announcement did go off for, that we did lose power. There was 1 class that we had to move during the test date when that first leg went out. Once the second leg went out, there were plenty of announcements for us to hold in place. Once we figured out what we were doing, we sent the kids home. We've stopped the exam, we sent them home, we did several connected messages that day. We did inform the staff, we informed the staff and the students. What else? We did that day?
The bathroom was the opening and then the closing was.
I gotta be honest with you, I mean, 17 minutes is absolutely ridiculous to wait for a bathroom. I find that very hard to believe. I mean, I school all day, I'm in the bathroom.
I have to tell you, this young student is not someone who's gonna fabricate. So.
It's not about fabrication, it's about exaggeration. I think 17 minutes.
Exaggerate, I don't think he would do that.
I'm in high school every single day. And I see kids every single day, and I walk through a building every single day. I walk through building during periods, I walk through building between periods. I get to see anybody standing at the bathroom for 17 minutes. Could it have happened in a particular moment? Possibly. I highly doubt it. Those 17 minutes is more than half the period. I think that's an exaggeration. If it was, you can tell the young man to come see me, and I can address it right away. But no one should be waiting for 17 minutes to see that. Not to mention, we do have plenty of bathrooms that aren't open. And we did have students who were 2 at a time in the bathroom to stop and see the vandalism. And as of lately, I haven't heard really anything or any complaints about bathrooms being open or closed. So I'm not sure what the student was referring to. I wish that student would have came to one of the people in the building at that time. We could have addressed it right there in a moment, in the spot. Several days, several weeks after, you're talking about a text message, it's very difficult for me to number one, defend or even address. But in the event that ever happens again, please tell that person who offensively, come see me right away, we'll fix it.
Well, aside from waiting for the bathrooms, I'm sure you get a lot of complaints about the vaping in the bathrooms.
Actually, the vaping bathrooms have gone down substantially since last year. They have, we've had very few incidents from last year to this year. And I think, and I attribute a lot of that to electric monitors. Having an adult present there, when they know where to check, and limiting the amount of kids in the bathroom definitely helps. Last year, we had 10, 15 kids in the bathroom sitting in a circle, and you couldn't even get in the bathroom. So, last year, I believe the problem was worse with waiting for a bathroom, because students would not go into the bathroom. This year, we've limited that substantially, and we do allow more kids in the bathroom between periods, and during periods, it's a lot safer environment for the kids. The vandalism that we were talking about earlier, recently, was really the cafeteria. Due to the cafeteria, we're not limiting them to 2 at a time. They're going in, because it's lunch period, and those kids coming in and out, it's fluid all period long, so we're not limiting. The majority of vandalism does happen in the cafeteria right now. Just 2 days ago, we had a student literally rip the lock off the stall and jam it into the toilet. It took the custodian 40 minutes to get it out. So, did we shut down the bathroom at that moment? Absolutely we did. There's nothing else we can do, but there's a bathroom outside the cafeteria that we have to use. So even though one is shut, there are other options in place, and there are plenty of options for the students.
Is there any other public comment? It's about the tennis policy, that's when it's supposed to be. Is there running a tennis policy? All right, so, full comment, but I'm going to have you come back, so I'm just here for 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Have you whole 3 minutes, Mrs. Kennedy, don't worry.
No, it's a fast question, actually. It was mentioned last school year, I believe, about Stop the Bleak kits coming in.
Yes.
Have they been delivered, and when are they going to be rolled out? When are the students going to learn about it?
Okay, your timing is impeccable, because we just talked about it at our Superintendent's Advisory Council meeting 2 days ago. We're going to have our security, Mr. Flynn, talk to our teachers, because we would like them to be actually velcroed to the wall in the hardened corner where you would take your kids if there was a lockdown. So it's going to be different in every classroom, but they're going to be accessible to everyone in that classroom. For the little kids, we'll put it up higher so they don't, rip them down unnecessarily, but they should be rolling out within the next few weeks. And at that point, we'll discuss with the principals if they want to bring in Stony Brook University Hospital's outreach program that does the Stop the Bleed program for free. So we can do that in each of our kids' present classes or in a mass assembly so that kids can see how to use the different aspects of the kit.
Just my opinion, I think it would probably be better in gym, smaller group, and they might be able to do some things.
I just don't know if we can have them all okay, so we would have to see what the availability of Central University has to do the training. So we want to get as many kids trained as possible, just in case.
Not just see depending on the
Hey, you know what does that work? It's already, all the Stop the Bleed kids are already in our APs, correct? So they're in the district already, but this is just to have.
That I knew, I wanted to know when it was.
They're here now, yeah.
Anybody hold comment? That was the last one there. So, I'd say around the senior trip, there was a question that was posted on Facebook, will your child be counted absent if they choose not to attend or attend senior trip? One of the things I felt concerning was, someone had posted a letter from Mike Hansen. As far as those days of the senior trip, they will not count as absences with the credit policy for any senior, whether they go on the trip or not.
That's correct.
So my interpretation of that was, I could stay home 2 days.
Nope. The attendance policy, I think that person, whoever said that to you, is confused between the attendance policy and the credit denial policy. It's two separate policies. In the attendance policy, an absence is an absence regardless of the reason. If you're physically not in school, you're absent. If you're physically not in class, you're absent. All those cumulative absence now get turned into a credit denial process. So, what Mr. Hansen was referring to in that email, not a letter, it was an email, was that the parent had asked, or the person had asked about the credit denial practice and policy. Several years ago, as a principal, in both policies, whether it's the attendance policy or the credit denial practice or policy, it's the building's principal to grant an appeal and the hero of the appeals. The only time that the senior trip will negatively affect a student, whether they're or not, is if they're in danger of getting denied credit from the course due to absences. Several years ago, I made the decision because it does not necessarily impact instruction for the day for that particular student, being that the majority of the seniors, more than 3/4 of the class, are not in school. So I said originally, to help the appeals process with the appeals committee, if there's a student that is in danger of denied credit, and that is the only thing that's stopping it from being denied credit, I'm going to grant the appeal. So don't count that towards the attendance policy. Because if they came to me, they had to sit in front of the appeals committee, they had to pitch their story why they're absent. If that absence was on there and caused that credit denial, I'm going to grant that appeal. I'm going to give that student the credit back. So instead of making the parent and the student go through several meetings for me to just say, yes, you may get that appeal, I told the attendance committee right off the bat, if there's an absence, like the senior trip, that is stopping a student from gaining credit in a course, I will grant the appeal, so don't even count. So that's what that email means.
Okay, so then when you have a child that's pulled out of class, and maybe I'm confusing the two policies, so forgive me, you can help me decipher the two. So your kids that are being pulled out for music lessons, you have kids that are going on just their standard trips or whatever it is, then they have psychotic bronchitis. So those cases handled any differently than this particular case?
Yes, they are. The attendance policy, the attendance policy committee, when they meet for the appeals process, what they do is they have literally folders and folders of students who are in danger of losing credit. And they look at all the absences for a particular student. If a student has not exorbitant, but absences due to music lessons, the criteria is, are they losing instructional time? The answer is yes, they are. So if I'm in math class and I have to do music lessons, I am missing math class, where the 24 of the students are sitting in that class gaining their education, but I'm not there. Therefore, it counts as an absence. So it's the loss of instructional time from a particular class. Why is it different than a senior trip? The majority of the seniors are not in school. There's very little to no instructional loss because the class is not running. The majority of the chaperones on the trip are senior level teachers. And that's the difference.
So if I was a third grader, or a parent of a third grader, and my third grade class went on a trip today, and I decided to keep my child home, I understand what you're saying, it's up to the discretion of the principal, but the two are no different.
It's completely different. Because in third grade, there's no attendance policy for credit. Credit denial, we're talking about credit denial. And there's two policies. The attendance policy is very black and white, very clear. If you're absent from a class, you're absent. That counts against you. The only time it comes up where there's a concern is if you're going to lose credit in a particular class. That is the only time it comes up. Any other time, there's no issue. So for example, if you had 15 absences from your class, 7 of those were music lessons, nobody cares, because you're not going to lose credit. It only comes up if you have 27 absences or 28 or 29 or 30 absences from your math class, and 6 of those are music credits, then it comes up. Then the answer, the question from the committee, I think for me it's from the committee, the Attendance Appeals Committee is, why did you miss X amount of times? And then you would come in for your appeal. And at the appeal, they take in consideration everything. Illness, family trouble, whether you're homeless, if you have long-term illness in the family, they listen to everything. And as long as you can substantiate why you're not in school, 9 times out of 10, the Attendance Appeals Committee will grant that appeal before you come to me. So if you can't give us documentation why you're absent, if some of those absences include music lessons, yes, you're going to get denied credit.
So how many of your active kids who are very involved, whether it's the music program, and they go on the trips, and of course they get sick, how many of those children are impacted by this?
I cannot give you the exact number, I'll tell you it's few, because those kids don't miss school.
They don't miss school, but they're being
They don't
pulled
go over
out.
that 28 number for a full year course. Even if they went on field trips and they're doing this, that, and the other thing, they don't go over that. And the attendance policy is at 28 days for that reason. So you do have time to do those extracurricular stuff without really impacting your attendance policy or your attendance practice or whatever state mandates. 90% attendance
And
class.
music lessons rotate.
And they do rotate, so it's not in the same period. So, even though I had 7 or 8 lessons throughout the year, it may be period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it really won't impact that particular class for denial of credit. And denial of credit only really attributes to a particular course, not the entire exam.
Does anybody on the board have a question?
I went through it twice.
They're affected just by that direction. Yeah, I don't know the way around it, but that in and of itself affects those kids. They know they're doing it right then, and once again, some things are smarter kids that are good, ends up going after the kids that aren't, like the kids who really have to eat, you can't get in the bathroom because the ones that belong to them.
Well, I can address that. It is unfortunate that some of the better kids have to worry about that, but the reality is when it comes down to it, it doesn't truly matter. It really doesn't. And we cannot discern, that by a number, what's a good kid, what's bad. What's an excusable student, what's not an excusable student. So that letter does have to go out. Unfortunately, we do get phone calls from those kind of parents and those kind of students with their concerns, and we do apologize, but there is no way to really discern who gets let and who doesn't.
There's a state educational policy, just so that you all know, this is not something that happens at Connecticut solely. There's a state education policy that says there's a seat time requirement in order for students to achieve credit in a high school level class. What this policy attempts to do, 28 days, missing 28 days, I just want you to think about that number for a second. The kids go to school 5 days a week. So they have missed 5.5 weeks of instruction in that class. And at that point, they are in danger of losing credit from the seat time alone in New York State Education Department. So I understand, I don't even talk good, bad, and different kids who have music lessons, it rotates throughout the day. If a child has chosen to not go through the rotation and to make up a lesson because they want to miss math, because they don't love math, and now they've taken 20 days of music instruction during math, and they've missed 8 days because they're sick, they've missed 6 weeks of instruction in that class. So 28 days is a lot of days to miss instruction in a class. And honestly, it is a pretty typical policy that for a half-year class or a 90-day class, 14 days really gets to the cutting edge of where New York State says you can have half a credit or not. So it's the loss of instructional time, and it's 5.5 weeks of instruction that they're losing. Most of our kids don't lose that. We did a policy review of this 2 years ago, and Mr. Costa was nice enough to bring in data and show us how many kids actually went through the process and how many kids were truly impacted, and it was a very, very small number that lost credit, and they lost credit because they were out 40 days. They didn't lose credit because they were out 29 days. So you have to realize, just that number sounds small, but in 180 days of instruction, which is 40 weeks, they missed 6 weeks of instruction out of 40. That's a lot of time that they're not getting instructed, and it also allows them to have that credit by state education requirements.
Leah's doing fine in college now. None of this matters to her.
Any other questions from the audience? Mr. Pastor? Thank you, Mr. Pastor.
I have a question, how come you didn't bring any donuts and snacks?
Where is it? They're right here.
On the minutes?
They're done. They're hard to.
Okay, we're moving on to recommended action. Schedule 1, resignations,
Thanks,
terminations,
Sophie.
leave of absence. We need a motion and a second. Second, all in favor? Moving on to schedule 2, appointments, tenure, salary changes. I need a motion and a second. Second, all in favor? Okay, we're moving on to recommended action, financial matters. We have items 2 through 5. I need a motion and a second, and
Six, one, 2, 3, 6.
Is there a six?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see that. All right, so items 2 through 6, I need a motion and a second, and if anybody has a question, second that. Any questions? No questions? Okay, moving on to, all in favor, sorry. All in favor, Mark? All right, moving on to consent agenda, we have items 2 through 25. I'll take a motion in a second, and then we'll go into questions.
Motion.
Second,
Questions?
any questions?
Tons.
Can I go first?
No, go ahead.
I just want to know about number 16.
Oh, that is on the,
I moved it, whatever, I don't know.
Oh, for who?
That's for the food services?
No. This
That's
is,
for the, I mean, for the kids who are trained for,
physical education and mindfulness together. This is the corporation that comes in and does training with our kids on music and movement. And they've done some work with us in the past. They've done some free stuff for us at the wellness fair each year, and the kids love it. So that's what this is.
how many kids?
Honestly, don't have the contract in front of me, but I believe it's in the different elementary schools.
it says 50, I think. There's a contract, if you want to see it. 50 students, 45 minutes, $300 per session.
So I'm thinking that's in phys ed classes in the different elementary schools.
So that, but
So we can do 2 classes at a time.
We pay 300 each class?
So how many kids are we leaving out of this then? Are we doing 300 for every kid in the school? How does this work? It's a little confusing, kind of it's a little confusing.
Okay, I would have to talk to Mr. Middleman because it was through his office of construction as to exactly what the schedule looks like
Yeah,
for
'cause
that classes.
The $300 for, I mean, listen, if it's for the, I don't have a problem with it, I just want to know what it costs, the total cost. $300, we just going to do 50 kids once, or we're going to do every single kid in there is going to cost us 300 times 8 classes. I just want to know the total cost before I do that.
Okay, I would have to wait for Mr. Middleman to come back.
So I'm gonna,
Actually,
can we table that then?
So we table this, right over this total,
So I believe it says 10 sessions, there's 10 sessions, so $3,000, so it'll be 500 kids that will be
So it's
in
$300 per
So
session.
how many elementary kids do we have total?
I don't know what schools this is at, different schools
Yeah,
do different,
there's a little
different
different
things.
information that we're missing. I'd like to know that information before.
Okay,
Because I don't
So
want to
maybe
leave kids
tell me-
out. I think, you know, we're going to do it, it's not a bad thing. It's,
so you want to know what school it's occurring at,
right,
and you want to know how many students are being taught.
right. How many will be there? More important. You don't want to leave any kids out.
Okay.
That's my questions. I don't know what more had.
Why? It's good enough money, basically.
well, that's
How
why
many-
we got for the table.
I don't know what the sessions are. I don't know.
You want to see what the question, this is what we can, this is not.
So this just allows us to contract for how many times we want. It's a standard consultant contract, so when we bring in dancing classrooms, I know PTAs pay for that, but when we originally started dancing classrooms, it was a consultant that came in and did per session, and it actually grew across the district. I know a bunch of different schools do it, not all of them do it, because different schools have different things that they are interested in. So this is something that we would contract per session, so there is no maximum cost to this. It would be really how much we wanted to use the service.
All right, so can we get figures to those?
So if you want to know how many sessions we're looking to
And how many
provide.
kids then too, because if we're gonna have 10 kids, they're gonna come in for a session.
50.
No, this would be a phys ed program, so it would be a typical class day. So you would, I can find out what grade level we're doing as well, so I can give you more information.
Just a little way home.
And honestly, this kind of stuff, if you could ask me beforehand, so that I can bring it to you, so that we can have this.
I looked at it this morning, so.
I actually,
Oh, we had a.
should, I
Yeah,
started.
it's Wednesday or Tuesday. All right, so, okay, so what schools, how many kids will be impacted, and what might be the total cost? Got it.
All right, I'm
Someone
more
make a
questions.
motion to table it?
So we're gonna table that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table. Need a second?
Well, no, I guess we're gonna pull it.
Go back.
We're gonna table it for the next meeting.
Okay, so then we have,
Yes, all in favor, table.
we had another, number 15, consultant services contract for child abuse prevention services. And again, that was a little, where is it? It was a little weird, and I didn't know exactly what it meant. Restorative practices training, what is that?
That's for the rec room at the high school.
So what's, it says 4 two-hour sessions at 450, again, it doesn't tell me who it's servicing. $450 per session, $1,800. Like, how many kids is this helping? What do they do?
It's not kids, it's the rec room and the folks who are working in the rec room.
Okay, so you mean teachers? Oh, well, that makes a difference.
So we have 6 teachers that currently work in the rec room, and then 1 teacher who works all day long. We also have a YSFS worker who does counseling in the rec room, and this is to deepen their capacity to do that work.
Okay, so I thought Mike Hanson was running that. I know we were hired consultants for that too.
Mike Hinson is the administrator in charge of the rec room, but he's also being trained as part of the restorative process.
Was that? That wasn't my understanding of that program, but okay. All right, so that was my question on that one.
We keep it out or table it?
We can vote on it.
Are we pulling it for a separate vote? Are we pulling it for a separate vote?
No, I don't. Silver Spoons Nutrition. I thought we were discussing whether we were gonna pay that $1,000 or, but we put that on discussion, not on to vote for that. Didn't Lee have some questions on that?
What's the service? Sales food service? Didn't we have one, wasn't it?
What's this? Yeah, Sharon can explain what this
So we're
is.
gonna have another one come in?
It's up to you, that's why we put it on the agenda for you
Yeah, but I
to
thought it
help.
was for discussion, not for just a vote. I thought,
Well, we put it on if you wanted to vote on it, and you can absolutely discuss it, but if we are going to move forward, we need the contract. So Sharon will explain to you what the contract is, and if
I
folks want
already
to.
got the explanation. $1,000, it doesn't really say it yet, but we pay her the $1,000 to come give us, and correct me if I'm wrong, we pay her the $1,000 to come give her a presentation. That comes off the, if we hire her, it comes off that $5,000.
Right, that's why they're both on there, so that you can determine which one we want. The $5,000 service, which is the 2, or the $1,000 service just to come and do the presentation. We would take one of those, correct, so Sharon?
That's correct.
So if she does the presentation, then it's only $4,000 contract left. That's
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Why is it so much?
Because she has to do a lot of gathering of data, visiting all the schools.
It's more than 1 day.
Is she coming in for 1 day, or is she coming, how many days is she coming?
She would be doing one board presentation, but in order to do that, she would be reviewing the profit and loss of the self-operating program, reviewing our current food service management contract, and on-site evaluations, where she would observe the current service being provided, explain how a self-operating program will provide both similar and improved operations for the community.
So, Sharon, would you be able to give us analysis of why we're losing it, to pay on the food service?
Yes,
I'm interested in hearing that piece of it.
in large part, that's going to be our labor costs,
Wait,
but she'll give us recommendations.
wait, wait, you just said labor costs, let's go back a minute. A lot of the labor costs are the moms in the district that work there. So were you saying that if we self-operate, we're gonna lose those?
No, I'm saying that's why we have the loss. What Silver Spoons will be doing is reviewing the current setup we have, where we have the food service management company and their food service director, versus we get our own food service director, who's an employee of the district, and go self-op. So last
So no
meeting,
jobs in those.
I don't think anybody wants that, no. That's not the goal of this. The goal was to explore the option of going self-op.
I believe that opportunity would probably would have a little more ownership on the program as far as serving the menus and things like that, which was what I was really excited about, when we sat down and spoke with her,
Yes.
having that more governance of the program.
We actually have that now. Whitson's is responsive to any requests we make. I mean, I have complained, relayed complaints about, that we wanted boar's head cold cuts or the like. That wasn't even in the bid, and they provided that. The packets for mayonnaise and other condiments, they were not to the liking of the students, and there was a complaint about that, and they improved the quality of that. We've had, no, they didn't. So, I keep saying, just let me know what it is, at what school, what the problem is. And I would have to say, I'm gonna sound biased, but the truth is, they're hyper responsive.
So, basically then, if we can get the same food from Whitson's, we are allowed to change the menu up. Basically, it's the $200,000, what you're saying is labor cost, not payments.
Right.
So how can, with this lady, right, did she say that she could work on that?
I'm sure she would have suggestions, I'm sure, and she could analyze that and let us know.
And Whitson's hasn't done it.
Winston's has made recommendations for staffing and other improvements and doing direct deliveries. We have reduced staff in response to data I requested from Winston's. Really could look at
Did
it.
we talk to all the managers at the school?
I did meet with them, yes, one time. But we do contact them and ask them, probably not frequently, but we've done surveys of them and asked them for feedback. And I hope they feel free to contact me then. I'm sorry, Madam.
No, one of the things that I had a lot of takeaways from that meeting, I thought the woman was very,
She's phenomenal.
she was phenomenal. One of the things that when we said to her, our district versus a very similar sized district, she even said that the loss is pretty high comparable to our other districts. And by doing this cooperative may take us down to a more reasonable loss than we are at 200,000. Again, that's why I want her to come and speak to the public, because I think she did provide a lot of good information and maybe some ways that we can, because according to her, she said the loss with similar like districts are not at the 200. That's good. Have I heard her correctly say that?
I don't know if she's taking into account our free and reduced differences that we have with other districts as compared to
I
other
thought she did do
districts.
that.
I think she did.
We talked about CI at Brentwood.
But those are
They don't have
two,
losses, right?
those are two, very classic examples of districts with very high free and
Right, so
reduced.
they don't have a loss, right? So
Right, but we don't
She
have.
discounted that, right? If I remember correctly from the meeting, or am I?
We certainly could meet with her. The idea of the cooperative that she proposed was one of my major concerns is the buying power that Winston's has, because, they're a big company, they can get volume discounts, and her response to that was getting on the cooperative bidding program.
Well, do you recall the schools that are probably now doing the cooperative? I know Patchogue is doing it. There were some big schools that are doing this now.
She said it was like 40, am I right or wrong?
Yes, it was a big number. So, for us to not even allow this woman to come, at least hear her. Because I really, I think you and I can share, she was very informative.
Yes, I have no problem with it, I just wanted to make sure that the $1,000 was coming off that contract.
Yes, so I personally thought you came.
And I'll confirm that again,
Okay.
okay? But, yeah, I think she can give us some
So
insight.
do we want to table that to confirm it, or?
Well, we was on board with it. I mean, when we had spoken about it at the Pioneer, she had some questions, but
I
she
know
knows
she
you
had
and I,
questions, right?
she knows you and I attended that meeting. And I said, I thought the work informant was very informative. I think she'll do some data analysis on us, and again,
I
it's
just
been a
want our
lot.
school managers and our staff to be involved in it too, so hopefully we can invite them to the meetings as
Absolutely.
well, so they can, if they have any questions.
Absolutely. I think what happened was the price of her contract scared everybody off. So, you know, Whitson's came in and they did a presentation at no cost and then very long. And then, you know, then the idea was, well, let's present this and see if you still want to go forward with this. Maybe the price is okay. But you see what
I
it's
think,
like.
I think it's going to provide both opportunities to people.
I agree.
Okay, so I have no issue with that.
So I just want to just clarify.
We're fine with
We're voting on the $1,000 contract to start
That
with.
if we hire her, we'll come off the 5,000.
can I say one thing?
Not right now, not right now, sorry.
Okay, so
Wait,
we're,
so if we hire her, that 1,000 will come off the 5,000, otherwise we're just giving her $1,000 to represent.
Which I think is thousand, if we work, just hearing her share that information and why.
Well, the whole analysis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she won't give you analysis on 1,000, she's only speaking on it. She's only coming down to speak.
Yeah. That's what
In order for her to do the analysis, it's the 5,000
She's
fees.
saying-
enough to do a presentation.
If the 1,000 is covering the presentation, it's not covering the data analysis.
There is data analysis allows that so that you could do a presentation.
Oh,
okay.
That's why it's, that's the first one.
Okay.
okay, so we're asking to amend number 20 to just include the $1,000 school nutrition consultation presentation contract.
With the option of
With
going.
the
With the
option,
option of going to the 5,000,
Correct.
but we don't want to approve the 5,000 right now because that would hire her.
because that will hire her,
Okay,
we
so-
don't hire her yet, we want to get a
So,
presentation.
so I need a motion and a second to amend 20 to just include the $1,000 contract.
That will be deducted from the 5,000.
Is that true, Sharon? It's going to be
I'll
deducted?
confirm that. If it's not, I'll put it on the next agenda to rescind.
I'm pretty sure that's what
Okay,
she said,
that's-
Mylene,
that
do you
is-
remember
I
that?
thought that's what she said as well. All right, so we're amending to disclude the $5,000 and you will vote on that amended number 20.
I want to hire her.
So we're tabling 16, which we already did, so now we're gonna just pull the 20 for, what?
It doesn't.
You're not doing that.
We would just say as amended.
As a matter.
Mylene, do you want to?
As long as you have any questions.
Okay. So then we had, some trips here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 trips. National Lacrosse Hall of Fame, North Rockland High School, place to visit, Penn Relays in Philadelphia, all at zero cost to the students. And then we have another one that's going to the U.S. Naval Academy, but that's a cost to the student. Can you tell me why that is? Why-
Because there's a budget for that, in the athletic budget, and they budget for a specific amount of field trips and for the students. And this was a new field trip that was proposed and was not budgeted for. Moving forward, this could be included into the budget for that sport, but right now this is a new proposal.
But it's curriculum based, so there is a way to move the money so that we can give these kids the same opportunity that these three are getting.
So the board approves addition on that budget line to allow these kids.
So you're talking about the softball trip to the U.S. Naval Academy?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to Penn Relay for this sport, and North Rockland High School for that sport, and
Some
National
of those
Lacrosse Hall
are
of Fame.
because they're contests and
The
they're,
National Lacrosse Hall of Fame is more like this one. So I think that
usually they're contests and they're
this one
contests
says
that,
they're going to a museum. So, and this one kind of says the same thing, and this is also for a college visit.
which is for a college visit, which one?
The Naval Academy.
The Naval Academy. So,
Right.
How many kids
I
are
just don't know if it's a contest. If it's a visit to the Naval Academy
well,
and
this
it's
one
a
is not
sport
a
team.
contest. This one going to National Lacrosse Hall of Fame and Museum, doesn't look like a contest to me.
It usually is. They're
There's
usually
dinner.
contests.
Well, they're doing some things here too, they're doing the same things on this one that they're doing on this one. If you want to be comparable there. Again, arrive at National Lacrosse, Hall of Fame and Museum, tour the Hall of Fame and Museum, national costs, again, more than do the lunch, then go to hotel,
They're scrimmaging.
they're scrimmaging. So,
contests.
and then on this one, they're doing kind of the same thing. They're having a dinner, they're attending the softball clinic, they're attending a clinic. So why don't we get to pay for these kids, but those kids do get?
So I'm gonna give you another problem, and this is before the season starts. So there's no team. March 2nd to March 3rd, the season has not begun yet.
For this Naval Academy? So, but did we already do tryouts?
No, tryouts don't start till that Monday.
So how are we picking the kids then?
The kids who would like to go will attend from the kids who she's put out to all the kids who are attending her winter clinics. So there's been no team picked here. So this is not a contest, that is something that is
There's no
kids
team
who
here
do.
though either for the national cross school.
What time, what days are they accomplishing? That's,
This one?
it's the 16th, it's the 16th. The difference is it's in season versus out of season.
I still don't understand why we can't do the funds for all, and why some kids have to pay and some don't.
In season versus out of season.
That's the difference in season versus.
Well, because if you looked at the football team, if they go away to a summer camp together before the season, that there's no team yet, so you have no one to pay for. So it's in season versus out of season. In the athletic budget are contests within the season, and this is not the athletic budget.
So we're a board of ed, yeah, finally, more.
How often does these type of things come up?
Prior to the season, they usually do training. So baseball was going down to Puerto Rico a few years ago in February break. There's no team yet, so
And that's what we can pay for.
the kids pay for it.
And how many students would be eligible to go on this Naval Academy trip?
I don't have it in front of me. Is there a request for how many kids?
Approximately 50.
Which means she's looking to take anyone who wants to go down to a clinic to work out preseason.
And it's a college thing too, so it's I mean, to me, it's a win-win. Like, why would we do that for these kids?
Is there any way we can prorate the trip as far as maybe the transportation goes?
The Board of Education can offset field trip costs for every child in the district. It's usually a budget line. This would not be an athletic field trip because this is not a team. This is a preseason event.
But it's
So
also, yes, I get it, but it's also a curriculum base too, because they're going to college, so.
that's kind of loose to say that kids who are going for a softball clinic are going there to.
It says right here, attend USNA softball, they'll have a tour campus, dinner, return to hotel, attend the clinic. I mean, it says it's for the Naval Academy. I mean, this is a college, this is where kids would go. So it's not, I mean,
I'm not arguing the merits.
No, I know, it just looks like a good opportunity, and I think that we should do what we do for everybody else.
When the kids went to the Disney this past few
That was
days,
fundraised by the kids.
so that was paid for in July.
And that was in season because they're going to counties tomorrow. You guys
I
can
want
attend.
to pay for it. I want to pay for these kids to go, just like we pay for the other.
The only thing is, the kids that went to Florida, we should have paid for them too.
Huh?
The kids that went to Florida, we should have.
We just did, we just reimbursed the kids to go to Florida.
Not the cheerleading, competitive cheerleading team that just came back from Florida.
We'll have the singing thing.
No, but we had kids that were at Disney this last few days. So technically, according to your argument, we should have paid for those kids as well.
So we have guidelines, basically what you're saying on that. which
Why
we-
aren't we?
We do.
No, but why aren't we doing this for the kids?
So we need to change the
This is
guidelines.
a brand new field trip, and I think you're gonna, I have no problems. Honestly, the Board of Education can put a budget line in to any budget to offset costs for all students in the district.
Well, I'd like to pull that for a separate vote then.
To not let it happen? Because this is just to let it
Let it
happen.
happen. Let it happen, but I don't want them to have to pay for it.
This, if you don't need to close yourself, but this is just to let it happen. If you folks want to put something on a different agenda to
Okay.
offset the cost,
I see what you're
I would think that Sharon would have to find that cost somewhere. Because in your board budget, it's.
$3,400. That's what it says, $3,400.
Okay, but in your board
No,
budget, you don't
estimated
have a
cost.
line for that right now.
Estimated cost for the entire trip is $3,400.
Down in the,
50-something kids.
we have to do the work to go.
Maybe a little bit more, but $3,400 is dropping the puppy. We're just pulling that everything
I'm
out.
not on it like that, just everything that goes into that season.
Just remember that when we
So it's $16 a kid to,
How much?
$68?
I'm fine.
$70.
I just want you to realize that you might be opening up a can of worms, because if we have football camp and we
I
send
know.
200 kids to football camp for 3 days at Annapolis, then
They,
that's.
I already know what
They're
it's a lot
going
more
to,
money
they're
than
going
that.
to expect that we
They
do
have a
for
booster
any
club. This,
preseason.
their football doesn't have to boost.
But you can play favorites, right now it sounds like you're playing favorites, and I don't want the board to get caught up in that, because if we're gonna say we're going to sponsor preseason events for all sports, that's
No,
gonna be a
this is,
huge
for me,
budget
when I
line.
read this, I saw college, I saw a naval academy, I saw a great opportunity for these children. And then I saw 3 other trips that had 0 cost, and then this one had a cost. So that's one question.
I have to agree with Linda on this one, because until I know the whole picture and how many of the kids have had opportunities to go on trips, I'm not sure going forward.
Well, I'd like to research that then. I'd like to know about that.
Well, let's approve the trip, I'd like to approve the
I'm
trip
okay
for
with
these
it.
kids.
All right, leave that on there. But just, please, Mary Jane, just note that we
Yes.
can get that information, because I'd like to,
You also need to know what you're going to do for the sports.
I got it, that's what I want to hear, I want to hear all that information.
It could be,
I do wanna hear that
$1,500 on a Disney trip.
Well, maybe, I mean, we could try a policy that could cap it or whatever, I mean, it's just, I'd like to know the information, that's all. Okay, 2 more things. So, actually, I have more than 2 things, that's all. There's an Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, including cyber deception. It's another contract, it's or an insurance contract.
That's to protect the district against cyber invasion.
Have we ever had this before?
We had this last year, it was the first year that we had
Because
it.
it's a lot of money, it's $20,000.
It is, and we went out for an RFP last year, and this year we have quotes for significantly more money from 2 other bidders, which said they would commit for $24,000 to $30,000 range.
So, but we have a dedicated person that does our web stuff, right? So I don't understand why we need to spend $20,000.
There's a lot of personally identifiable information.
Right, but that's why we have a director of this, don't we? And it's not-
It's really, I mean, honestly, it's to protect the district if, God forbid, someone hacked through our firewall and got to all the personally identifiable information that we store on our faculty, our staff, our
What would it do?
students.
It protects us how?
Because it
For
would,
ownership.
It protects us against the cyber breach. It would include notifying overseas if we were potentially at risk, like maybe we've gotten a letter like that from Target.
Right, so we're spending $20,000 so they can send me a letter saying that my PII was.
It's an insurance policy, so they would reimburse us for any losses that we might incur.
Is there, we ever heard?
20,000.
We haven't, but this is something
How
that
many years?
most school districts have. This has just become something that's been, as we
I just
become
don't see
more
the
and
need to
more.
spend $20,000 for something that, I mean, to notify somebody.
It's not just
There's
notification.
no loss, like, what are you gonna lose? I mean, you're gonna lose some, what are you
It's
gonna
the
pay?
lawsuits
So
that
say they
makes
hack
it.
it and they get your information, your credit card, they're gonna pay you money personally?
They would cover up to the limits of the policy. Yes, protecting the district from having to
The
pay that.
district,
Mhm.
not the people that are affected.
Just like, never use it, how many years?
We only first had it last year. We didn't have it for a number of years, and it was very nail-biting because
Have we ever paid?
have we ever had this happen? No.
districts have, right here on Long Island.
What does it cost?
It's approximately $20,000.
No, what does it cost this initial step if something happens?
Oh,
Fix it.
hundreds, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands.
And if something happens, they come in and fix it, they,
And yeah, covered, like insurance would. That's what it is, insurance.
what's the insurance?
I don't have that in front of me, and
Oh, it's liability or something? And that makes it okay?
What did it, I mean, do you have the information of a school district that this happened to, that they didn't have the insurance, and how much it would cost? I mean, how much it cost then? It's, the limit of liability is only $3 million.
Yeah, I mean, I could get that.
Yeah, I would like to table this then, until I get that information.
Does that mean the policy expires, Sharon? I just wanted to give you
April 1st, March 1st.
There is one more board meeting before.
Right.
Is that right?
So, yes, do you want to know what similar losses have been
Right,
realized by other
another school
districts?
district, right, and
So we're tabling 21?
Are we need a second table?
all in favor? So we could use 34,000.
Yeah.
All right, my next question is, there's a donation. What are on these baseball signs? Just want to know what's on them. They tell them, that it came through, but I just want to know what's on them. Yeah, this one, it's on the side.
They're the signs that go along the outfields.
Yeah, along the fence.
They're,
Is it a
they're,
fence?
yeah, along the outfield fence.
Nobody's name on or no dedication ceremony or anything in that,
No, they're
right?
not.
Okay, I'm good with that one. And then I just have two questions that came in to me. That's not on the consent agenda. RMS, this came in this morning, so I'll pull you back with it. RMS is doing data collection for health and smart PE. They're hooking them up to some monitor or something? Is it-
Yeah. See that grant.
Okay, were the parents, because when this person, look, there's no terms and conditions on the website, there's no privacy policy, they have personally identifiable information, like what are they getting? You know, are they getting PII from these monitors? What's the cost to the district? Was it permission slips sent home for the parents? Like,
Those are all good questions that I do not have answers to. So you're talking about the brand new program where they're using
Yes.
harmometers.
yes, and again, I don't think it's a bad thing, I just want to make sure that the parents were aware of it, what information they're getting with PII. I can
This
email,
doesn't have
if you want me to
anything-
email that to you?
Can I just ask that you guys vote on the consent agenda or you want to other matters? Just to close that, and then we can go on to other matters.
Okay,
You
for those
can
two
get
things,
stuff- Yeah,
two little things, that and one more thing, so
Okay.
that's fine.
Both questions will pertain to the
they don't pertain to.
No, they
each other,
don't.
right?
So
Okay,
you're right.
Let's close
Sorry,
the
okay.
consent
Yep.
agenda.
Okay, so all in favor?
As amended.
As amended and tape, there was two items.
Two tables.
All in favor, amended, and two tables.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to close the business.
Sorry,
before we
okay.
move on. All right, so the information is the PII, what's collected, and were there permission slips, and
So
Scott.
it was termed there,
Okay.
because on their website, there was no terms and conditions, no privacy policy, so I couldn't get that information for myself. So if you could find that out, for me. And the cost, what is the cost of the district?
There was no question to do
It
with
was
the
done.
grant.
Okay, good, that's what I thought. And then, I just have another question, I wanted to ask Monica, but I heard a rumor that our LRE is under state audit.
Yes.
Why are we under state audit?
They come and they voted all the things all the time. We were red flagged a few years ago. Monica and her staff have been working on ensuring that our kids are more along the continuum of special education programs and services that we have here. But it is something they're pulling a certain number of data sets, and there will be, this was something that
Is it because we have too many kids in overseas or something like that?
it has a lot to do with the placements, and so we were,
So when did we get audited? When did that
it's happening right now.
Yeah, but when was the first date that we were on?
They told us with a very quick turnaround, it was about a week before they started their audit that they told us they were coming. And Mrs. Manzi went to every single staff member who would be impacted district-wide to talk to them about what it meant and what LRA means and why they're auditing us. They will be sitting at a couple different CSEs who will let the parents know.
And we'll know how that all turns out?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about it, just because it was. Yeah, I saw it noted, but I didn't know that was for the special education.
There's two separate programs.
We do have two, right? No, so I thought it was the other one, I didn't remember reading about this.
Gotcha.
All right, that was all my questions.
Okay.
I will leave you for it.
I think there was public
Did you have to say
comments, if anyone would like to come up to the podium and ask a question.
She had a
You
question.
had a question now, you.
My question is, years ago, Connect bought Twin cell phone. I'm talking 25, 26 years ago. It failed. That's why you let go all the food service workers, pulled us all back, and called one company to bail you out. What company is that? Winston's. Winston's turned everything around. My kids were in school, so that's how I know that. Why did Connect bought fail at cell phone when that happened? I don't know.
I didn't know that, that's interesting.
Okay, from what I understood back then, it was over-ordering food. It was now, there's no one to oversee. They didn't have the buying power that Woodson's or the Aramark or whoever it is that they do. So, what's the deal there? What's the pro to the con?
Well, that's what we want to
That's
see,
what
that's
I-
what we're
And
having.
another thing is, we're gonna have this woman come in as a taxpayer, I wanna pay $1,000 to hear her talk, and then you just don't take her, and then we will lose $1,000?
I think she's
Isn't it
providing more than
That's why I
just,
asked the question.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't
she's
make sense.
providing more, she's going over the data to analyze.
Is she on the business end or is she on the nutrition end?
She's on the business end.
That's why I asked that question.
She's actually both. She does
If,
both.
no, you can't voice talk, if you want to come up and speak, you're welcome to come and speak.
When I looked up Silver Spoons, it was a nutritionist that said, so how does she gonna tell us about
Yeah, she does
cell
both.
phone?
All right, so well, that was my question. If Connect went cell phone like 20, I don't even know, maybe 20, 26 years, 25 years ago, it didn't work.
Did you
I mean-
know about that? We'll look into it.
So
I didn't know about it.
I don't know
I
what
heard it was
logistics
about the
was
inventory
then,
as
I don't
well.
know, but it failed.
Oh.
I heard exactly what you're referring to.
And then they supposed to call back, Woodson's came in,
Right.
bailed him out.
Well, that's why I also wanted to
Came
hear
in
from
and turned everything over again, and then came to be successful again.
Right.
So
Well,
it's-
I don't,
losing
you know what I'm
20,000
saying,
sounds
like,
So when this lady does her
it wasn't
presentation,
failing like it was when we
Right.
cell phone, in other words.
so when the lady does her presentation, I'm sure Sharon can share with the staff when she'll be.
Absolutely.
So
That is right.
Question here.
If you can attend that meeting, this way you can even ask your questions as well.
And
That'd
I'd
be
like
great.
feedback from our people.
Yeah.
Well, of course. The consultant is a registered dietitian, and she also was a food service director in Brentwood, among other places. Number 14, door repair, maintenance, and installation bid. Does that, is that for the security doors?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is
I did miss that question.
Number 14 is to hire the company to install the doors. So
Correct.
when might that be happening?
Now that we are we have the ability to go onto that bid list, we
Or
already
just
got.
to put the bid out?
No. This is to be able to purchase through NASA OCs because they have the door bid there. All the specs have been approved by SED. So at this moment, we will be sending this to NASA OCs so that they can start the process of building the doors. So we should see the doors roll out this school year, before the school year ends.
Before the school year?
Hopefully all of them, but at least half.
Like over a break?
No, they said that they could probably do between 10 and 15 doors a night. So we might be able to get them all done through, it's obviously the fabrication process and then all the rest of that, but we're very hopeful. We just had a bond meeting yesterday. We're very hopeful that it'll be rolled out completely before the end of the school year.
Every single school?
That's what we're hoping.
Was the calendar on the consent agenda?
No, it was a discussion.
That's what I thought.
I'd like to just make a comment about the filters. My own opinion, if you start including every single trip, paying for it, first of all, it's going to be a huge amount of money.
No, I understand.
And it could also, Dr. Adams said, it could be looked at
That's why I
as
want
playing favorites on this team, that team. I know for a fact we have a winter clinic for tennis going on that I personally paid for. Well, it went through the tennis umbrella, the team, our coach.
Can I ask you what major check out to?
However, why not include that?
Can I ask you what
Because
major check out
as
to?
they're going to a clinic,
The tennis, who's the major check?
the way it was arranged this year was directly to the gym.
Student activity fund?
No, it wasn't through the district.
So that's different. That's a couple.
But it could be put in the district, why not? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
In my opinion, you're opening it up.
Well, that's why I want the questions answered. I don't,
And I would
I'm
give
not necessarily
huge line
saying do it, I'm
items
saying
to
that
put on budget.
we need to make it more even, like, we need to know why is this one getting done, why is that one not getting done, I wanna know those answers, I wanna see.
My opinion would be that is the answer to this, that discussion was satisfactory to me. It was done after the trips, other trips were approved.
No, I know, I understand what you're saying, but I wanna make sure we're fair to all
It
kids.
just start a bad precedent to start putting in every single filter. The relays, the competitions, things like that, okay. I guess that's budgeted for.
What I would like, she does make a point, so I would like a list of what we do send them, what we do pay for and what we don't.
It's in budget, state budget.
Okay, what is, yeah, but I don't, it's one line, it says athletic budget, so it doesn't give you like a breakdown.
Sure it does. You don't have that detail.
Thanks, Lisa.
Just a question regarding that cybersecurity policy, I guess Sharon probably can answer it. That policy, would it cover the district for replacement of equipment? I know they talk about like Trojan horse, something if they were to bypass or get through our firewall. And you hear about it all the time. You know, there's a bug, there's a virus, there's something that would prohibit our equipment from operating properly. That policy, would it?
I don't know that.
Okay, so that policy.
It's like a liability policy. It's really more for protecting the districts from losses that other people are claiming they incur monetarily,
Right, so-
personal data.
Like direct deposit accounts.
Yes.
The 403B, all of their financial records
Correct.
that we hold. So it wouldn't be just for equipment replacement, more like liability. Okay, you know, I believe in insurance, like an umbrella, if you have it, you don't need it. And the fact that in my position, the number of accounts that have been hacked it's something we've never seen before, you know, so it's something to consider. And I know it is a cost,
It's a big one.
but it's very common to be hacked.
How often do we get that?
And, well, as you know, we get a
Well,
lot of
it's
phishing
personnel.
emails.
Yeah.
I got emails saying that the superintendent authorized, I think you got this one too, authorized that a deposit be
That
made into a
liability
certain.
insurance is not.
Did they do
not
anything
bad.
for you?
Well, I didn't respond
That's
to
more
it.
training,
I
that's more
didn't-
like director.
We may not catch it.
Security.
But we have a lot of staff, we have a lot of staff, so it doesn't just go to me, it
It's like
doesn't just
between
go to the
your
business
work.
office, it could go to anybody.
Want to get it, you don't. It's just, trying to be in the children.
Well, yeah, we do have
Don't
to
wait.
get a lot of stuff still just, this is what we're trying to.
Yes.
You know.
So no, I think we are prepared, but, and we do our best with suspicion, and we do inform technology, you know, spamware and everything else that they have. But, I could see where it could potentially cost the district.
And
So
that
it
is
is,
getting more sophisticated day by day. You know.
they are, and just for the record, one of our girls had gotten an email from, a sibling, and with an attachment, she says, oh, you know, my sister never sends me on that.
I got the same thing.
So she called her sister, and her sister's like, yeah, no, I didn't send you anything, but I got one from your son-in-law in Colorado, and I called him, and he didn't send me anything either. And she started looking, and she has like a separate little account that she uses for like gift giving, and they hit it for $14, and then $11, and so she got hacked. So somebody was phishing, not just her, but her whole family. So, you know, just be careful looking into that.
I don't know what our technology person has set up as far as firewall. Of course, we have. If our entire system was hacked and every bit of data that you have in there went down, don't we have it stored in the cloud?
We do.
We do, so it can be restored.
We have a disaster recovery site on site, and we also have cloud storage, but this is really more of if someone grabs that information and uses it for nefarious
If they
purposes.
grab it, they grab it.
Well, but then we would have lawsuits that
Yeah,
come our way.
what do we
that
get
would-
if they
How's
grab
it
it?
going $3 million?
What do we get, and how do you put a dollar on if they grab something? If they grab some account numbers as far as where you can charge, you know,
We have 1,250 social security numbers just in Vision alone. So we're talking about personally identifiable information just for our faculty and staff, but we're also talking about personally identifiable information for our students. So we have 6,200 accounts of student data and 1,250 accounts of
and
faculty and
don't
staff
think
data.
that they cannot be hacked.
Of course, and that's why we want the cybersecurity insurance.
It can be hacked,
It can be hacked, absolutely can.
because,
Anybody can be hacked, anything.
well, not anybody, but there are people out there that for one reason or another, this is their fantasy. You have to find out exactly if someone gets into the system, gets data, they can also destroy programs. They can also destroy programs. They can make your computer look blank. What this company will do financially for you, will they give you dollars to have someone else restore it? Do they restore it? You gotta find out more data. I mean, we do store it locally, and we do store it in the cloud, which is good. It means we can restore it.
Correct.
But sometimes when you're going to restore it, the program has to be in the individual workstation. There's usually no data in the workstation. All the data is at your server. Your workstation just says programs, so that you can access, so that you can access Word, or you can access Excel or something. That has to be in that workstation, but there's actually no data in that workstation. But believe me, anything can be hacked. My son used to work for Cornell University, and you know, so he had to change and add a program to one of the professor's computers. So he went there, and the professor wasn't there, and he called his boss and he said, Professor so-and-so isn't here, and this is password protected. So my son's boss said to him, password protected, that means nothing, do this.
Yeah, there's ways around.
So password protected on your workstation means nothing. Well, you're gonna have to get more data, that's probably what it amounts to. You're gonna have to give them the scenarios and what they will do if that happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Any other questions before we adjourn?
I got nothing.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.